Patience.
Yeah.
So that's like. You know how many. Irrigation. And so.
Oh, good to see you too, Mike. Absolutely. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. And love that barbecue last week. I got to see many of you there, but I know some couldn't make it. And welcome to our WAF meeting. Thanks in advance to our amazing staff for setting this up, making it possible. And it's great to see you all. Munch on this delicious food, okay? That's the point. We're gonna chew other things over together as we go through here. My goal is frankly just to have only the first, kind of like we do in the research series, really, right? The first kind of 15-20 minutes or so, be more presentation, but we'll give a chance for some of the amazing program directors around the table to give some updates as well. And then most importantly, turn some to discussion from you guys, right? Because as you know, it's a little bit of an inflection point here at the workshop, but we're gonna keep building on the amazing foundation that the team has laid over these last years. My reign of terror is coming to an end, I'm sorry to say. But again, it's been such a joy and privilege these last, I don't know, it's been 6 years now. Time really flies these last 6 years. Taya got on this mantle. It's been a pleasure every day setting foot in this building. It still reminds me, and as I spend more time in other buildings around campus, it makes me that much more appreciative of how great we have it here. But it's a chance, to look back, but also look ahead, right, at that next exciting chapter that we have coming up as well. So just so everybody's on the same page, the timeline for me is that I was able to negotiate staying in this role through October 4th. So that's when, formally, I'll have to kind of pass the baton, but I was also able to negotiate 20% of my time for research. So that's on paper anyway. If you look at the schedule, you have to squint to exactly see where that is. But that does mean I'll be able to keep involved here at the workshop, including as a program director to help with the transition and everything. So thankful for that. But that also, frankly, is a reflection for how much our new chancellor, NIU Research, values the workshop, right? Because they really wanted to make that a priority too. So, but it's also lastly a transition and pivot point and an opportunity to reflect, because we have not exactly a 5-year review because it's been 6 years, but we have a review that happening this fall as well. So if you might not have been following it, I wouldn't blame you if you hadn't, but they had stopped these for a while. But they've brought them back, and I think they're very, very useful. So we'll have ours in October, right around the time frame of the OML that Eduardo Brandizio is going to be giving. I hope everybody's there. It's going to be such an amazing, stellar talk. And I think we don't have the exact timing yet. My guess is it's going to be around there though. So we'll be letting you guys know as soon as we learn more. So there'll be some external reviewers, there'll be some internal reviewers. And as you guys know, if you've been involved with these reviews, it's just a chance, right? It's a chance to see how things are going, how we can improve, all the classic stuff. So this is a great opportunity to kind of start that. We had put together a self-study as well, of course, as you do as part of this process. Later today, and a special call out to Anna for making this possible, you're going to see an affiliate survey going out to everybody as well. So that's a chance to kind of weigh in as well for what you're seeing, how you're engaging with the workshop, how we can do a better job of building community, of keeping, moving the ball forward here. And that'll be part of this as well. That'll be part of the report that goes in. Yeah.
When was the last external review?
The last one was summer of 2019.
2019. So it's only.
Yeah.
6 years ago.
It's been 6. That's right. So, and as you would guess, I mean, the near-term marching orders, like when I took over that fall, were just to explicitly build from the recommendations from that last external review, right? But we built that into the self-study. Emily, Castle at that point, and I worked, closely together to show how we frankly checked all those boxes, right? And then some. So, but that's kind of like the foundational piece. And then really since I'd say about 2022, it's been a chance to break new ground, right? And to push forward on some of these other exciting collaborations, including some of the new programs and faces you see around the table. And welcoming back postdocs, which we're also so excited about. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying before we get started, can we do a quick introduction?
Yeah.
I haven't been around as much.
You missed it at the picnic last week, so no, let's
Say, who is?
No, of course. I think it's a great idea. Let's do that. No, it's not an overwhelming number, so that's perfect. And I'm sorry to catch mid-bite, but at least you see it coming now, so that's good. Sorry though.
Staff of Bishkar, Economics Department.
Economics.
Yep, perfect.
I choose John Buckley. I am coming from Turkey and I am visiting. I am coming from Turkey.
She's a visiting scholar.
Right now, Turkey, United Nations name actually. And I am visiting research scholar here at the Ostrom workshop.
Gustavo Torrens, Associate Professor in the Department of Economics and Director of the Political Economy Program here at the workshop.
We all know you, Gustavo.
Political economics.
I'm Peruaga from Bolivia. I just arrived. I will be here for a year. I'm interested on environmental commons analysis.
And our Ostrom Research Chair, just the second one since Charlie Schweik, which is so exciting. So we're so thrilled to have you here. Yeah. And thank you again for putting up with all the shenanigans to get you here. We haven't made it easy, I know. So, yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm also Patricia Vargas. I'm Peruvian. I'm here a postdoc. And I am doing research on the cybersecurity side, cyber insurance, and running the consortium of the cybersecurity.
So we have three, just for folks who are aware, postdocs. Two are here and one is in the process of still being hired. But so we have one on cybersecurity that's funded by Google.org in Berkeley, which we're very thankful for. We also have one on environmental governance. We'll turn to Natasha here in just a moment, who's already been just a wonderful member of our team in so many ways. We could not be more thankful, Natasha. And also a new one on tech governance, right? Who will be coming. We'll see how the finalist timeline works out, but it could be in the next few months or it could be January. So. Thank you. Simon.
I'm Simon. I'm a visiting scholar for 4 months here. I'm from Poland. I'm doing my PhD at Jagiellonian University in Krakow. I'm doing my PhD on tort law and cyber attacks, and here I'm researching cyber attacks and the compensation for cyber attacks on space infrastructure.
Hi, Jessie O'Reilly, International Studies.
And do so much more.
Sure.
You're here.
Should be here.
Yes, you should be here.
I'm film scholar and archivist from Ukraine, and I'm doing my PhD here at Media School.
Welcome, yeah. And of course, Aja, let's move so we don't, before we leave this side of the room, yes, please, yeah.
My name is Abdul Ejaz. I go by my second name, Ejaz, and I'm here as a visiting scholar. I work on environmental governance.
I'm Jess. I'm really out of practice with spicy food, although I am also very sad that Scott is not gonna be doing that. Anyway, Jess Steinberg, Program Director of the Environment and Natural Resource Governance Program here at the workshop, and also over in International Studies with Jessie. See you all.
Yeah, Claudio.
Claudia, I am a full professor at the Union School of Public and Environmental Affairs. I am affiliated to the Ostrom workshop, and my research is about local governance in Latin America.
Thanks so much, Claudia.
Hey, I'm Matty, dear PhD student at O'Neill School, and also I'm Ostrom Fellow. I'm glad to be here.
Thanks so much.
I'm Anna Goodman. I'm the Assistant Director. Probably emailed everyone.
Darn right, yes. Probably today.
I'm Natasha Hodesky. I'm the postdoc in environmental governance, and right now we're working on a plastics pollution problem. So we're doing source to sea from a riverine governance perspective.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much. And thanks to Natasha's hard work too. We're just about to announce the launch of the Ostrom MOOC finally. So this is like a Ostrom Workshop 101, right? Style program. So it's going to be open to all of our visiting scholars, but also freely open to anybody around the world. And Natasha did a lot to help pull that together. So thank you again.
One step away from UNEP accreditation.
Hey, all right. Fantastic. Fantastic. That's no small feat. So thank you. Perfect.
Way to go, y'all.
Hi, I'm Julia Valiant. I'm an associate research scientist with the workshop as part of our food and agrarian systems group. And my work looks at land governance, production, and some other layers of our food environment.
I'm Mike McGinnis. I retired from political science about the time of the last review, so I didn't remember it. It's all been a blur, so I'm very happy. And I'm very, so many new faces around the workshop and active programs going on, and your external review is going to be fine.
Yeah. Appreciate that, Mike. Yeah.
I'm Dan Cole, and basically ditto on Mike. I'm retired from the law school in SPIA. I've been here not nearly as long as Mike, but a long time, and always happy to talk to anyone. anything having to do with the place, with the Ostroms, et cetera, et cetera.
Thanks so much, Dan. No, perfect.
Hi, I'm Barbara Cherry. I'm a retired faculty member from the media school. And my area is telecommunications law and policy. And although I'm officially retired, I'm still active
Oh, yeah.
in various coalitions and networks of people, interdisciplinary.
Yeah.
Very interdisciplinary, economists, engineers, other lawyers, you know, things like that, to deal with things that are, and it's a heyday of actually needing that in Washington, what's going on right now with a lot of the policy reversals.
Sure. Sure.
So it's actually taking a lot of effort to kind of keep tabs on what's going on, but likewise, you know, particularly anything to do with the telecommunications law and policy stuff. Love to talk with people about, because this is an ongoing journey where
Indeed.
keeps evolving, it keeps adapting, it's never done.
Absolutely.
And I've done, oh, just FYI, it's not just US. I used to be on the board of International Telecommunications Society, so I've done a lot international as well. So a lot of comparative, you know, looking at how different nations deal with this. And that's where there's also been a role reversal.
Yeah, totally.
Where the US used to be relative to other parts of the world, and now that's kind of reversed. So it's been interesting.
For sure.
Yeah. Good to see everybody.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Deanna?
Yeah, I'm the director of the Commons program. I'm also a faculty member in the departments of Geography and International Studies. And thanks everybody for joining us today.
And Clax, too. A lot of good stuff. Yeah, yeah. Of course, and Karen. Oh, and Jorge. Yeah. Say hi.
Hi,
Yeah.
I'm Karen Mack. I am the marketing and special events coordinator for the workshop.
We're so thankful, Karen. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
And Kirsten is the one who got the food together, if you really like it.
Yes.
Tess is the one who suggested it.
Oh, well done. Oh, well done.
Also, there is ice cream sundae bar included.
Oh, man. We're not trying to color those affiliate survey responses at all, are we? Yeah, excellent. Okay, thank you, Karen. That's lovely. And Jorge, do you want to?
I'm Jorge. I'm a researcher at the intersection of healthcare, public health, and cybersecurity. And this year I'll be a visiting scholar working on a project to be able to develop frameworks to for cyber harm attribution.
Great to have you here. Yeah.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
I study connection across physical space and time as well.
That's the coolest opener I've heard for a while.
Yeah.
That's great. Excellent. And maybe we'll just do a quick lightning round for those online. Bill, do you want to say hi and then Filippo and Abby?
Yeah, happy to. It's great to see everybody. I'm Bill Blomquist. I'm a senior research fellow at the workshop.
Thank you so much, Bill, founder of our Commons program, among so much else. Chair of WOW 6, I could go on and on. Yeah, Abby, go ahead.
Hey all, really sad I'm missing that ice cream sundae bar. Sounds amazing. My name's Abby Stimler. I'm at Kelly in business law with Scott and Angie, and I do tech law.
Great to see you, Abby. Thanks for joining. Filippo?
Yes, good morning. I'm from Montreal, McGill University, retired.
It's a little quiet, Filippo. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
I can. Go ahead, and I'll.
Far away.
My apologies. It was good to see some of the old familiar faces like Bill and Mike and Dan. I'm a political science professor retired at McGill University in Montreal. And just listening into what you guys have to say, and good to see new faces at the workshop as well.
Thanks so much, Filippo. So yeah, retired from McGill, political science professor, lives in Montreal. Been around the workshop for a very long time. It's great to see you. Shane, and then maybe Catherine.
Hi, my name is Pruksapong. I'm a former visiting scholar and a workshop affiliate. I live in Bloomington right now, but I cannot join in person for this meeting, but see you around.
Well, great to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Catherine?
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad I could join this meeting remotely. It's wonderful to see some familiar faces there. Some of you know I used to be at Indiana University, and I was part of the workshop advisory committee at that time. And I'm now at the University of Florida. I'm a professor of anthropology and Latin American studies, and I work on mainly natural resource commons and human environment interactions in Latin America, and been working a lot on mountain and water commons recently.
Thanks so much, Catherine. And still, am I right? Still president of IASC as well?
I'm the president of IASC, and I'm also vice chair of the FAO's globally important agricultural heritage systems program.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much for joining, Catherine. Great to see you. Natalie, it's been too long.
Hi, everyone. Glad to join online. I'm Natalie. I'm a postdoc at the University of Innsbruck. I do research in experimental economics, most of it tied to some cooperation questions, social dilemmas, public goods. I've worked a lot with Jimmy Walker. I've been a visiting scholar to the workshop many times now, and I'm very sorry to not be here in person right now, but hope to come back very soon.
We miss you. You know, the door is always open.
Thank you.
And I don't want to put you on the spot, Ina or Aaron, but if you wanted to say a quick hello, you're welcome to. Sorry, Ina.
Definitely. No, yeah, I don't know if you can see me, but I'm actually in the car. I'm about to go and teach. But my name is Ina Cooper, and I am a research scientist at the LAD School of Informatics. I do data management and data governance. I work with Angie a lot. I'm also a senior research, what do we call it? At the Ostrom workshop. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good luck teaching. Thanks for joining. And Aaron?
Hello, everybody. I'm Aaron. I'm also traveling, so sorry not to be there, but my name's Aaron Delott. I'm an associate professor in the O'Neill School in Bloomington, and I do research on metropolitan governance, infrastructure systems, and local government sustainability.
Thank you so much, Aaron. That's terrific. And thanks for everybody. Good suggestion, Bart. You know, it takes a minute, but it's way more fun if we know something about folks around the table.
One new arrival.
I'm so sorry. Axel, how are you? Good to see you. Say hello if you wouldn't mind.
Sorry I came in late. The faculty had a meeting on its own at the same time. But my name is Saf Lubin. I'm an associate professor of law at the Maurer School of Law, and I've been on WAC for
yes, indeed,
since Mattioli left you.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, welcome. I know you have a very busy travel schedule, so it's great to see you. Okay, guys, so let's see. Will this work? It will work. Okay, so again, in the interest of time, I'm gonna try to keep this to like, maybe we'll even try to do 10 minutes, 10 to 15, quite quick. So keep chewing, get more food if you'd like to, please, okay? And then, like I said, the more interesting part is gonna be the discussion, and we can start brainstorming a little bit together around some of the questions you'll see in that affiliate survey as well. So you guys know the workshop, and it's been a heck of a 6 years, including such a successful, I think, WOW 7. So thanks again to Jess and to Edu for co-chairing and all of our amazing staff for making it possible. It was a real delight. What's different, right, over the last 6 years? So, 6 years ago, we of course had lots of connections all across campus. I think a lot of those have deepened, and I think there's been some expansion, right? So, for example, now the fact that we have Ostrom fellows from the media school or from Jacobs or from some places that you wouldn't think of necessarily as having folks interested in governance, institutions, trust, right? These types of meta themes that we do so much with here at the workshop, I think has been exciting. I know Jess has made Y673 a bit more interesting, hopefully. And before you, Dan and Mike and Edu have done such an amazing job with the course. So I think it's been one fun story that we've seen this umbrella, continue to expand. But as you guys know, that also is a challenge because it's a balancing act always, right? Because if you have so many different folks from so many different disciplines interested in so many topics, you still need to keep those common threads in mind, right? Or it's easy for that to get lost in the shuffle of topics week in, week out. So we're very mindful of that as well. And that's something to reflect on too, right? As we think about the next chapter in the workshop's long story. We always have ambitious goals here, right? It can be a challenge at a place that's done so much, right? Across so many fields already. It's like, well, I remember one annual review at one point a few years ago, like what's going to be your next Nobel, right? It's like, well, let's think about that, right? But these are some of the ways in which we've kind of broken down these different goals, ideas, align them, of course, with our shared, IU 2030 goals as well. I'm not going to go through all these guys. I'm happy to talk about different ones. It's all about, investing in the next generation, giving, new scholars an opportunity to present their work for feedback, highlighting, of course, established scholars as well through the colloque series, finding more translational applied opportunities like we do with ERI, with Luddy, otherwise. There's always a ton going on in that space too. We've done a lot. There was, quite a lot these last few years leading up to WOW 7. There was a whole series of global events that kind of culminated in that specific gathering, and that just coincided with the 50th anniversary of the workshop itself, right? So it really kicked off with this IU Berlin Gateway event that we did for the EU-based affiliates. You were there, Jess. Edu was there. Lots of folks. It was terrific, right? Really, really nice way to kind of galvanize some of those relationships again. ISC in Nairobi, Catherine, I think Jesse were there for that one and gave some great remarks that kind of help lead the charge as well, which was terrific. And, we did a whole series of other things, again, culminating in WOW 7. So that was great, including building that pavilion we see outside there, which was also hopefully an upgrade from where we used to have the dumpster. Little tragedy in its own way. And you can see some of this stuff. We've tried to do a few other, use some other tools to help crystallize some of these communities over these last couple of years, including you'll see more edited volumes coming out. So we're doing some, for example, on environmental knowledge commons that several of us are editing together, including with, Mike over at Mauer. There's one on, space stuff that we're doing. There's a variety of work on securing democracy, trust in institutions, that kind of thing. Always new working groups. At the moment, we have 16, but again, that fluxes. That's one of those things that we brought back in 2019, to your point, Mike, along with the senior research fellows and just some of the other elements, as far as I'm concerned, of the secret sauce, that made the workshop what it was. So again, it's that balancing act there. So several of these are interesting, right? So one that I'll flag, just because we can always talk about it if folks have ideas, but this open access program, that's a newer one. So the libraries have been paying for open access funding there for a while. It was about a $30,000 or so a year commitment. So researchers across campus that didn't have support from the departments or schools could get some funding to submit. Because if you're involved in some of these disciplines, the costs are quite hefty, right? 5,000 plus sometimes for an article submission. The library stopped doing that this fall. Right. So as of this moment, the workshop is the only game in town for open access funding. The reason they did it, partly it was financial, but it was partly because of just, and I understand where they're coming from, the idea that we're incentivizing the behavior on the part of these journals to ratchet up the costs more and more for researchers. And just because a place like IU can afford it, we don't think that we should be a part of that. Frankly, it's a collective action problem, right? So, galvanizing support through the AAU, maybe Big Ten Academic Alliance, trying to get together with some more market power. Those are things that are being discussed. But in the meantime, and again, that's something we can talk about. Should we, one, keep our program, two, tweak it in any way, right? My sense is that it's helpful to have a safety net, right? But I also understand the incentives that are being, sent, and then I get that as well. So that's just one thing that came up even just earlier this week, so it's on my mind. But that's could be something we could discuss more if folks are interested, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And there's always a lot of different roundtables, meetings. We're going to do a special one with ERI and the environmental impacts of technology here. I'm excited about. Current members of the WAC and our external advisory board. All of whom will be invited, of course, to big events like the OML. So you can expect to see folks there. I think even San's going to be coming, Claudia, which I'm excited about. So that'll be cool. And then, looking back at this last year, these were just some snapshot numbers, guys, right? So do a lot. It's an amazing testament to our staff that we're able to pull off. If you extrapolate that out, that's an event a week. So to do all that, to get this delicious food, to advertise it effectively, to work with the speakers, do the travel, all of that is no small feat. Welcome our visiting scholars from around the world, especially at a time of such fraught, geopolitical tensions. It's not easy to navigate visas and otherwise. So again, we're so appreciative. For external funding, I'll just share some really quick snapshots. I don't want to belabor this stuff. It's a means to an end after all, but that was one element in the external review from 2019, right? So that's one priority that we've really tried to push on over the last 6 years to find more of those opportunities to submit. As you can see here, since then, our overall amount has gone up, year on year. The reason there was such a big uptick there in 2024 is because that coincided with the submission of the NSF. It's called an STC proposal, a Science and Technology Center proposal, and that was led by Eduardo Brandizio, and a lot of us as program directors were on that as well. It was a nice opportunity, as you'll see in just a second, to frankly try to crystallize a bit of a research agenda, kind of thinking about this overlapping Venn diagram of environmental and tech governance and some of the big questions, right, that still permeate the field. And it was a chance, frankly, to look back at the 2012 STC proposal, because it got quite close in that cycle, except for, unfortunately, Lynn's passing and some other extenuating factors, right? So that was a great chance to look back. Well, how has the field changed over the last, dozen years, right? How can we still be, relevant, useful? From the feedback, and we should talk about it explicitly with Edu, but from the feedback I heard from him and from Emily, for the reviewers, it was very positive. I think, frankly, in another environment and another administration, it very well could have gotten to that next stage, which would have been a site visit right around now, frankly. But it did not. But that does mean we can repackage that same work for other opportunities too. And this just kind of gives a sense for year on year, what some of that funding looks like. Again, if you were sitting in places like the Chancellor's Office or IU Research, you would care more about these graphs than others. But we around this table don't have to care. Isn't that great? This does give you a sense that, boy, we're working with a lot of different groups, which is cool. And this is one of the ways in which, the workshop continues just to resonate, I think, broadly, which again is wonderful. It's a global platform that we can continue to use to be part of coalitions, to help lead coalitions as well, where that makes sense. And of course, that's a change too from, 2019. We try to be quite interdisciplinary, as all of you know. We do that in a variety of ways. We'll hear from in just a second here, because I really don't want to go on much longer here. The different programs, lots of working groups always going on. If you count like the program specific affiliates too, we're north of 500 at this point. It's a pretty nice database that's searchable. If you haven't seen it for a while, check it out. You can search by methodology, discipline, geographic area, lots of ways to use it. And a ton of partnerships always going on. I think that one at the bottom was we did this launch event for this space cybersecurity thing that we're doing with the Air Force. So I guess launch was pun intended there. And that was in March. We have another picture where we're all doing the Vulcan salute, so I didn't put that on there. That would have been even better. But that'll be an edited volume coming out in 2027 as part of that project. I mean, come on, right? And absolutely, there's a lot going on here in terms of translational research. That's part of IU 2030. So we're trying to find new ways to kind of frankly just publicize that work as it's already happening. Of course, we're all about student success. I will say that, for a while we've done, I think, a decent job of at least engaging with doctoral students across campus through the Ostrom Fellows Program. It's limited. There's not enough slots. We always have way more nominations than we have available funding, especially since, just so you're aware, over the last 2 years, the two of those slots had been funded by OVPR, which no longer exists, of course. Now they're all funded by the workshop, except for the DeVault slot, which is still funded by the graduate school, right? So it's not a simple matter of just saying, we'll accept a dozen, doctoral students, because that does hit home in terms of our funding, which, as you would expect, has also been cut. It's been cut, though. This is the good news, because we are basically, as of this point, and Jen Burns would kick me if I said it, but pretty much financially sustainable. We get precious little from IU at this point, right? The endowment's quite healthy, thanks to Lynn and Vincent's generosity. I know, I'm with you. What could happen? A huge market downturn? What are the chances of that? So yeah, as of this moment, things are looking good.
Don't say anything like that.
I know, right?
Hired faculty member.
No, that's right. Oh, I hear you.
Attack.
I hear you there, right? Exactly. So the good news is, though, we are, thanks to that generosity, shielded from some of the headwinds that we're seeing across campus. So that's enough to keep the lights on, the staff paid, everything that we're doing operating. But this does open up other ideas for student success. So one we can talk about is I had a good lunch with the new dean of the Hutton Honors College, Ramesh, this last Friday, and he was really keen to get like an undergraduate Ostrom course, but kind of like a mixed methods research seminar up and running, and to frankly use it, because we have such a deep bench across so many disciplines, as kind of a jumping off point for different especially freshman year undergraduate research experiences, right? So I think that could be cool because we haven't done as much with undergrads, at least over the last 6 years, as I think we could do. So I was excited about that. And there's always more priorities, guys. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these. I mentioned that MOOC, so that's going to be out soon, which we're very excited about. We are planning different global gateway gatherings. Deanna just did a great one in Mexico City, which was terrific. There's other ones in the planning stages, including we've tried to develop new tools and ways for the working groups to self-organize these meetings, right? So the water governance one, for example, using the New Delhi Gateway, great example, right? Or we might do one in Accra around, again, environmental impacts of tech, things like that. And this comes from, lastly, the STC proposal that we put together this last year, just to give you a flavor, and I can come back to this, for what some of those questions, what some of those themes looked like, right? And if for anybody interested, we're happy to share, of course, the full narrative, the full proposals. You can kind of get a sense for how that was looking. It's by no means meant to be, here's a research agenda for the workshop, far from it, but it did, I think, do a decent job of crystallizing some of the big remaining questions, building from that 2012 proposal. And where are those overlaps and ways to be innovative, frankly, at the intersection of environmental and tech governance. So there are some of those. And then, yeah, like I said, we can turn to discussion topics. I'm wondering, before we turn to discussion topics though, but I want to make sure we have at least 15 minutes to do this because it's the most interesting part. Let me just give the opportunity. Angie unfortunately had a meeting all morning at Kelly that she could not get out of, and James is on sabbatical. So there you go. But Julia, feel free to offer any other updates from food or otherwise, but maybe Deanna, we'll turn to you first and give Gustavo a chance if there's any other, updates or things you'd love feedback on or questions or anything on your mind.
Our lines of work has to do with climate change and the commons, and I think that is one that we want to keep working on. Of course, there are many synergies with environment and natural resources governance program and also the agrarian and food systems program. But that is something that I think is super important for the Commons program. And to continue to do public-facing scholarship, I had the opportunity of being a lead author of the IPBES Global Assessment. So that kind of work we definitely want to keep up to. Also, understanding better how the idea of the Commons has been used more recently, and we have seen, an increase in scholarship, in how it is used by practitioners, by artists. So we're trying to draw from a big international network. We did the Mexico workshop, one in Uruguay, and another one in Mexico is coming up next month, trying to keep that conversation, at least, in the Latin American and Caribbean region, which is where I can also draw from based on my own work and my own networks. Also opening up the possibility of having visiting scholars, but also practitioners and artists. We will have, for example, one water scholar who's doing a lot of artistic work on the environmental humanities, and he's going to be here next semester, trying to think across, those boundaries that for us are so important to keep porous. And also working with undergrads, we have been working with the Healing Garden, which is a space within the Hilltop Garden, which also allows our undergrads to have hands-on research based on land relations, food systems, and the possibility of understanding reciprocity, interdependence in a way that is very much about experiential learning. So those are the, I think, new things that we're doing that are not so new, but that keep the spirit of the workshop as a place for synergies, conversations, but also public-facing work.
Well, it's fresh in my mind. I had a great conversation with Peg over at the Eskenazi, the dean over there this morning, and she was just talking about how excited they would be to do some kind of joint visiting artists program with us. So let's talk about that together. But there could be a great opportunity there to work with them more directly. So. Thank you.
Have ideas.
All right, absolutely, no doubt. Jess?
Hi. So what do we got? We got an amazing postdoc who's doing super cool work on reroute governance and plastics, which we are actually, to the point about undergrads, we've been fortunate enough to be awarded one of these layered learning grants, which is an internal grant on campus that supports sort of working with 3 undergraduates for the year. So we're super excited about that, and we'll hopefully present at some point this year on how that research is going. We work with ERI a little bit, the Environmental Resilience Institute on campus, to fund one or two of their Climate McKinney Fellows who work with local governments in Indiana on their climate action plans. And what else are we doing? Gustavo and I work together on some stuff, thinking about the relationship between Ostromian institutions, the way they build trust, the kinds of norms that they generate, and what the effect might be in places where social order is broken down. So in the context of civil war, et cetera. So we just had a paper out in world development. We've got another one going up for review soon. What else? We're super delighted. We've got Ajaz here doing wonderful work on water and critical geographies in that area. And we are delighted to have any new ideas or thoughts to both engage students, masters and undergrads, as well as PhD students, and then also research ideas. Always excited. I will also say I have the wonderful pleasure of getting to teach Y673 this year. It's going fantastic. If you want to sit in at any point, please feel free. It's on Tuesdays from 3 to 5. All of our fellows are required to be there, so I'm sorry, but everybody else, you're welcome to zoom in whenever you like. But we will have designated sessions on sort of like particular programs and sort of research frontiers in each of the programmatic areas. So that would also be a fun thing if you are looking for something to do on Tuesday afternoons.
Thanks so much, Jess. Perfect. Gustavo?
Awesome. So couple of things that I would like to emphasize about the political economy program. So we have a small overlapping research group working on kind of different types of analysis related to conflict, from organized crime to civil conflict. Jess already mentioned this line of research, to people working on geopolitics. Okay, so if you're interested in these topics, essentially we kind of cover the broad spectrum of issues related to conflict. The second thing that I would like to emphasize is we continue working on thinking about collective action as kind of a building block of who gets organized and who doesn't get organized, and essentially like building a political economy of important questions around a collective action approach. So this is still part of the approach in the political economy program of attacking big picture questions related to political economy and evolution of economic and political systems through this approach. So we have groups working on that kind of issues, and we would like to keep encouraging those type of research. Okay, so I think those are the two things that I would like to emphasize about the political economy program.
Excellent. So any questions for? Yes. Yeah.
I don't know if this is the right time, but where does artificial intelligence play right now?
Oh, sure.
In terms of the way the groups are organized now, because that's a real growing problem. And of the other groups that I'm in, there's really heightened interest about what are we going to do about governance related to artificial intelligence and how that affects. So the way Ostrom is currently configured, is it been picked up in any group, or is that something?
Yeah.
Just wondering, with those issues, where would we turn for that?
For sure. Yeah, and I think we can use that as the jumping off point just for this broader discussion, right? So this is terrific. And this is great. And these are just, they're very broad. So just consider them as placeholders. We can take it in lots of directions. AI governance was a working group that we had first set up, like 3 years ago or so. But there's a lot happening in this space, right? So for one example, we did this Law, Econ, and Technology series. That was a monthly thing this last year with Angie and Jeff Prince over at Kelly, and Kosali Simon over at O'Neill, and me. So that'll be going on again this coming academic year. So each month is a different topic within that. And AI, of course, not only is it going to be a standalone, but it's going to really permeate, frankly, several of those, right? So there'll be in other words, a monthly discussion series. In my other role, I'm pulling together an AI research kind of focus group of some of the most senior people across the university who are doing this stuff. And the idea for that is, well, hey, what can we do to start to crystallize, right? So I think for the governance side, we can play a big role, right? More broadly, we're thinking about doing an IU AI Research Day symposium later this fall. So it would be like some tools, practical stuff, do's and don'ts, frankly, but also frankly, working groups, networking, lightning talks. So for example, I'm already thinking about having the workshop having, leading one of those sessions for folks more interested in kind of governance, ethical issues, et cetera. So then there's a lot of ways we can play a role across IU in that broader ecosystem. But then more broadly, and I did put together this last year, a one pager on kind of what do we call it? It was basically an AI governance consortium. There was some snazzy name for it. But it had several different pieces to it. One was like an AI governance thing, kind of like a lawfare does this, but for AI governance, right? And then there was going to be a postdoc, and then there was going to be kind of a shared thing. We put it to Microsoft like a month or two ago because they were interested in sponsoring more of this kind of work. So haven't heard back yet. But there's thinking, in other words, of doing this more consortium-based approach. And in that case, Johns Hopkins was really interested, Berkeley was really interested, as was Notre Dame. So other thoughts from what you guys are seeing? Because this even came up over at Eskenazi this morning. There's a lot of fine arts folks working on and using AI tools, right? I mean, it's all over the place. So maybe that's a good jumping off.
Being within the legal profession.
Oh, good Lord.
It's been inappropriately used and
Sure.
lawyers getting sanctioned.
Oh, absolutely. So maybe this is a good jumping off point from your guys, from what you've been hearing. I mean, come on, it's everywhere right now. What more should the workshop be doing as it relates to AI governance? What would you like to see? What would be useful? Maybe not duplicative of other efforts, but how can we add some value there? That's been very much on my mind too. Thoughts? Yeah, awesome. Please. Thanks. Yeah.
Just two
I'm
thoughts.
gonna take some notes. Yeah.
One is on the open access thing that you talked about before.
Oh, yeah. And please, that fair game too. Yep.
So, Jean Marinati at the law school, is trying to fight the incentive structure, the market system. And
Yep.
the way he's been doing that is using data scraping and AI to amass all law journal articles for the last 100 years to fight against high online type systems.
Oh, well done. Yeah.
And so, as you're saying, if the funding should not be about let's just fund you individually to have access to your scholarship. Maybe the solution is how do we invest in data scraping solutions that help generate open access databases for those who can't access them. And again, I think I immediately texted Joao because I think he should be in contact with you about that.
Yeah.
That's something he's been doing for a while.
Yeah.
Then I completely agree. And on the AI side, that there's just more opportunities. The amount of open calls for grant applications around AI have been staggering in ways that, as someone who doesn't do any grant applications, is a little overwhelming to me.
We're dragging you into it.
I'm realizing.
Kicking and screaming. I know.
But it does seems like something that long-term, we should have a separate discussion dedicated to it, because I think that there's a lot of benefits that can be coalesced and brought together to submit some of these applications.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. No, both excellent points. No, thanks a lot. Anybody want to follow up on that? Yeah, please, Kate, yeah.
One of the things I think about a lot with AI is just what is a human now, and then how does that affect what we decide the commons is, what ownership is, and how we relate to our common humanity.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
It would be interesting to look into that. I mean, I guess it's a little bit more of an abstract thing, but it seems like it would potentially affect.
I think it'll resonate with a lot of people, right? Yeah, because I mean, you work on like enclosure of the commons, Deanna, and how like these bots and systems are doing some of that, but at the same time how we interact. Yeah, Jess.
Your research had brought together these folks and some social science folks look at exactly that question. How do we think about what it means to be human in light of AI? I don't know that it went anywhere, but that established at least a network. So if there are people interested in those specific kinds of questions, particularly working across those borders, I think there's at least a baseline start of a network for sure.
Yeah, there was 4 kind of priority research areas that we laid out, and AI was one of them, right? So there's quantum, aging, and sustainability are the other 3. And some of those are just further along and more crystallized. So obviously on the environmental side, working groups are established, ERI plays an important role, we play an important role. Aging, it's very far along at this point. There's a chance that URSA, may take on a leading role with that group going forward. Quantum, we just had a successful conference. I'm more familiar because I was on the steering committee for it last year, but it's still pretty fractured. And I think AI is the most nascent, right? There's good stuff happening. Love David Crandall, AI, the Letty Center, great. And other things like what Ann and Brian are doing, at Kelly, wonderful, right? But there's still not a lot, right, of coordination. So that's what the thinking is, to try to pull some more of that together. So I'm with you. But yeah, we're building off of that existing network that you just mentioned, Jess.
That's where it seems that coordination, even though you have to step down officially from being the director here.
I'll still be around the table, just not in the hot seat. It's gonna be great.
Understanding how it's being addressed at the IU research level, and then what's a good complement.
For sure.
What the contribution could be from the workshop.
Yeah, well, it's a polycentric structure. We just gotta figure out a way to make it work well, right? Yeah. Wonderful. Other ideas about that or other things? Because I know we only have at this point, we never have long enough, but we're particularly not long. Yeah, Mike.
I'd like to shift back to something that.
Please.
Saw across, in one of your slides.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of something we were dealing about 10 years ago or so. So think about a facilities upgrade that supports policy labs. Tell me what that involves.
So
after you chew.
Yeah, it's all good. No, bad timing. So, there were, as you know all too well, Mike, there were various ideas over the years to have maybe each house have a more, thematic element to it. We kind of have that with the food group, already, right? The notion was, well, maybe we could do one that could also be kind of environment and one that could also be kind of tech, right? So as we have, more postdocs, more visiting scholars, more fellows, there's just kind of a way to co-locate to get some of those conversations happening, because we all have other offices, we all have other places to be around campus, but this is a nice, forcing function when you bring folks together and make it more worthwhile. So the ideal for those policy labs were to be to renovate some of those shared spaces to make it that much more useful and amenable. Then some of that already, need to do more of it, right? And it's, we've been doing triage. So, Anna, Kirsten, everybody, like when, for example, we have asbestos found on the 3rd floor, as we did, what was that, a month ago? Or when there was, we didn't, I was just kidding. It's a rumor. It's a deep fake. I'm not even here right now. Or when there was a leak, right? That coincided with the first day of WoW 7. That was perfect timing. So we have to do some of that stuff, but we do have money set aside, to your point, Mike, in the budget to do some of those shared space, upgrades. So that's on our radar, right? And that's frankly looking ahead to this next chapter. I think we could do more to make our existing spaces, that much more useful for all these different types of collaborations. So
very interesting idea.
Yeah. And sorry, I didn't realize.
Sure, you can find some money laying around campus somewhere.
Yeah. Well, we've earmarked in our internal budget for this too. We can keep the ball moving. It only took a Nobel to get a new kitchen.
Exactly what it took.
Yeah, Dan, please.
Somebody just needs to get the next.
Well, yeah. Come on. Take that as an action item, please. That would be terrific. Give me the Peace Prize. It's fine. It's fine.
This one's a lot of money.
Yeah, right. That's it. So what other ideas would be useful to flag, especially as we go into, submitting that self-study, which I think I just got reminded by you, Anna, was due today or something. It's due quite soon, right? We have a good draft, but anything else that you're seeing, including as we should be thinking about this, barriers, what can we do more easily? From 6 years ago, it's a different environment, right? Including with the way that ICR works. So we've been trying to navigate that the best we can, but it can be tough, right? For affiliates to run grants just through the workshop, right? When their home unit has different incentive structures, right? I mean, it's as simple as that. So, yeah.
Do you think this is a topic that you want to talk about in the external review to sort of get some, because I always thought that one of the things that was kind of unique about the workshop was the off-campus reach it has.
Yeah, oh, sure.
And I'm not sure that's been taken as much advantage of as possible. You've done a good job of bringing more of that in.
Yeah.
But I don't have any ideas about that except to say that that would be a really good topic to get an external committee to put something together and get some comments back from them as to what you could do to really build on that, because the Ostroms really have this incredible width of their effect on people in different parts of the world and different disciplines and practitioners as well as scholars and all that. And people who've expressed an interest in being, you said you're up to 500 now, sort of affiliates in some sense. But how do you actually make that something, to make that mean something? But that might be a good theme to develop for the external view.
Absolutely. No, it really isn't a really quite unique, tool that we have. And there's some other places like, Kinsey that might have something approaching, but nothing quite as broad across this many disciplines, I think it's fair to say. So
there are other places on campus that really have nice connections like that. But
it's unique, yeah. And we've done, I didn't mention it, but we have been doing some more letters of agreement and MOUs with universities like King's College London and their political economy group with Mark. We just finalized that thanks to Aurelian doing some groundwork there. And there's interest in ICTA in Barcelona. There's always more of those types of partnerships, but to your point, Mike, we got to be clear about to what end, right? Because you could do these, you name it. There's places all around the world where it would make sense, but it needs to be kind of a part of a win-win. But yeah, I mean, so far that database has been great whenever we see like a big opportunity that requires, institutions from X countries, and we do use it in that way, but I'm sure there's ways we can use it more effectively. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Bill, please.
Just a idea, and that is if we were to stay in the open access funding business, whether there's a way to connect that to people running grants through the workshop to try to align incentives so that if you're gonna reach into our pool and get funding for open access publications, maybe you could make some commitment that you would pursue your next external funding by routing it through the workshop or some shared arrangement with one of the, somebody's home unit on campus. But I think, it's admirable that we're providing that support. I'm sure we'd all love to see it continue, but we need to find some way to align incentives so that researchers aren't just, reaching into that pot and not putting anything back.
Bill Blomquist, diabolical mastermind. Yeah, no, I like it. I like where your head's at, Bill. Thank you. It's really, really useful. Okay. Any other thoughts? I know we're right at the top of the hour. It's never enough time. So we will hang out, okay, particularly me and the program directors. So let's continue the conversation. Just thank you so much for joining. Remember, we have the kickoff of our colloque series and research series. Everything's coming up. Definitely mark down the OML date if you haven't already. Would love to see you there.
One quick question.
Yes.
What's the process? Because I haven't heard. What's the process for determining your successor?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Sorry, you wouldn't have been. Just an email, right? Those details.
So I'm sorry. I just like.
Yeah. So if you, and I'm not even sure yet if you still get these lovely emails. Hopefully not, since you're happily retired. So yeah, if anybody didn't see it because our inboxes are crowded, I totally get it. There's a nomination process underway. We tried to make it more open and transparent, so you can self-nominate. You can nominate somebody else for the director role, and I think that's open for another week or two. I'm kind of forgetting. We kept it open for several weeks. And that was simply the idea to help just kind of broaden that net, right? Because it's really easy to be, insular, frankly. And I even more biased because I think we have just so many amazing leaders, including those around the table here. So that's the process in short, Barb. And so those nominations are collective. There's going to be a review committee. And then from there, the next director.
Forgot about it. Maybe there was an email, but I just forgot about it.
Fine, you're fine. It was only maybe a week or maybe 2 weeks. I feel like, no, it was just last week. It was just last week. So it has to be open for.
I'm coming out of surgery.
You're fine. You're fine. I think it's open for at least one more week.
And who is the decider?
Yeah, what's the process after the nominations?
Well, we are a SIM. So we're a center, institute, or a museum under IU Research. So
you're the decider.
Ultimately, wouldn't that be, yes, I'm mad with power. Wouldn't that be nice? This is sometimes a position heavy on responsibility, light on authority. Right, so technically it's up to Russ Mumper. Well, I guess ultimately Pam, but it's gonna be up to Russ Mumper. So, but the good news is, as part of this, I was able to make sure that we have a very heavy workshop participation in that review process too. So we'll have a loud voice at the table. Okay, guys, thank you for bringing that up. Barb. I know that folks are busy. Vice President for Research. He's the next Fred Kate, yeah. So thank you all for coming. Don't forget about the ice cream bar. And if you have ideas, we'd love to hear them. Thank you for your engagement and see you next week, if not before.